Hello, this is Jcamera here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Lego Disney Series 3 or 100th anniversary, released in 2023, last 2 years ago, because this is my first video in 2025. We have set number 7158. We have 18 minifigures to collect. So here is the packaging. It's a more whitish color, like it's not blue like the previous CMFs. In fact, as I showed in the Series 2 review video, each packaging gets progressively lighter with each color. I've gotten rid of the bags for the previous CMFs, so I cannot show you right now to compare them, but... And it was also a big deal that 18 minifigures was the amount to collect, because the minifigures like lineups had 12 back in the time. In fact, they still have 12. Like Looney Tunes had 12, Muppets had 12, I think Marvel had 12, and the regular CMFs had 12. So it's a relief that this one had 18. In fact, this is also the final minifigures CMF to have blind bags, because they changed it to blind boxes. I'm kind of conflicted on this, because the mystery aspect is kind of lost, because you can't really feel who you're gonna get. But I get why it's done, and I get why I can see the positives. That's just my thoughts. And within these contains just more rubbish. Many of these characters came in like a plastic bag inside. I don't know if all of them did, but many of them did. This was quite common. And then you have the checklist. Here is the checklist, all folded out. You can see all 18 of the characters right here. On the back, you can see instructions on how to make certain things, like accessories or complex builds they may have. Again, comparing it to the previous checklists is notably bigger than the older ones, like for Disney Series 1, which can be seen right here. And then if we compare it to Series 2, as you can see, it is exactly the same size. There's less instructions, but that's because there's less complexity within the minifigures. And the color, again, is gone from blue to white. And that's all I've got to say about the instructions. So now we shall take a look at each minifigure. First up is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. This is one of the oldest Disney characters made by Walt Disney Animation Studios. He's basically Mickey Mouse before Mickey Mouse. He comes with one accessory, which is like Oswald Act 2, Take 1, the thing that people use for like shooting scenes in movies and TV, which is a pretty cool Easter egg. He has blue shorts, which I actually like because this is what he looks like in the Epic Mickey video games, and if he was in black and white, it would probably be very boring. And I think in most media, they do have him with blue shorts, which is really nice. And it's also printed onto his torso, and he has dual-molded legs and a tail. And, yeah, very good figure. If Mickey was, like, short legs, I would also want him to be short legs, but I get why he's just the standard legs, because Mickey's that height, because both of them should probably be shorter, but otherwise, yeah, great minifigure. Next up is Pinocchio, one of my favorite Disney movies. He comes with a like headpiece accessory, which is meant to be Cleo's fishbowl. And he has medium legs with really good printing. And this is probably the perfect height for him. Great colors. I like the bright yellow they use for the arms and torso. It makes them look unique and accurate to the film. I like the hair hat piece they have. Love the colors on it, and it's like bold, like basic yellow, but I think that helps it stand out. The head is unusual, but it fits the character very well with like the growing long nose. It's a very important feature of the character. I'm glad that LEGO decided to risk their rules and sort of break him to make this character. So I know a lot of people like to make customs of them. Like I think people try to use like Mario and Luigi with mustaches and something like that. But yeah, the mouthpiece is a little bit weird, but I get it with the nose and it does look very cool. Following Pinocchio is his conscience, Jiminy Cricket. Instead, he uses short legs, which is appropriate because of his size. And he has a pink umbrella. And this piece, which two other characters have this piece, or not the exact same, but kind of similar. Each one is very distinctive and different, though. I'll point them out with each character as we go along. The head is also very weird, but it makes sense because he's not human. He's a cricket. In fact, he's not even like a wooden boy. He's a full-on animal, so it makes sense. I would understand if someone wouldn't like the face prints, but I get it. I would have maybe liked it more if he was a like micro-scale figure to go along with Pinocchio, and then this spot was given to another character like Prince Philip with Aurora, or Lilo for Stitch, or Hero for Baymax, but or even like another one off like Merlin from Sword in the Stone or something, but still a pretty good pick, I feel. And also he has this hat piece that we'll see in another character with really popping colors. Next up is this CMF's variant of Mickey Mouse. We've gotten him in every single CMF, and this time they use the Fantasia Mickey, which is probably my favorite outfit he has. It's the best appearance he's ever had in anything as well. He has really detailed, well-printed legs. He includes a bucket and a lifeless mop. I'm assuming before it's like turned to life. Like when he's like the servant of like Yen Sid or whoever that wizard is. And a bucket, of course, for water, doing his chores. I honestly don't have too much else to say about this figure. It's just great. Next up is Tiana from Princess and the Frog. She has two accessories, a pamphlet, like a little poster made by her, Tiana's Place, the restaurant she wants to open up in the movie, and a little lime green frog. This could be Prince Naveen as a frog, or even Tiana as a frog, because she turns into a frog in the movie. She has this really nice gown piece, and I love the contrasting shades of green. It has the sparkles, and it doesn't use traditional green, which I love, makes the figure more memorable and stick out a lot more. She is the first figure we are taking a look at that has two different expressions. One smiling with her mouth open, and the other with her mouth closed. And of course, she comes with a tiara. This is one of the best figures in the CMF. The only issue I have with her is that she appears in the Disney Castle set that came out, I think, in the same year, or it was last year, I can't remember, but... So it does make this feel like a bit of a wasted spot, like you could have had the next character facilitate on his own and maybe have, again, a character from a different movie, but... Or even in the castle set, they just didn't include her, and maybe included Prince Philip or a new version of Ariel or I don't know, just another character. To go along with Tiana, we have the villain of the movie, Dr. Facilier, or the Shadow Man. He comes with a 1x2 tile, which is meant to be his card, or one of many, and his trademark cane, which uses 3 pieces, which, with the exception of Maleficent's staff, every single one that Lego's made for Disney has been like 1 piece and not unique, like Scrooge McDuck's cane and etc. So that makes this more unique. I do wish it was a lot longer, though. I don't know why it's so short, but it's so cool to have nonetheless. He has like shoe printing, printing on his waist. And I love the colors they use because it is a bit tricky to tell in the movie what it looks like. And I think, yeah, it does look like how he probably does look in the film. And this is what I was talking about with Jiminy Cricket's hat, with how the mold is used for another character. The Shadow Man is the other character it's used for, with even better printing, and I think it's even better, but still great. Dr. Facilier only has 1 expression, but makes sense because of the hat. And he looks great. Speaking of Disney villains, the next character is the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. I love that they used the dress piece for like the princess or queen character in one of the CMFs. I can't remember which one had it. It was like in a pink color. And it fits the Queen of Hearts perfectly. I'm glad that it's only used for her because it wouldn't have worked for any other character because it does make this character look a lot fatter, which the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland does look pretty fat. She comes with 2, like, heart fans. She only needs 1, but there it is. And this is another one of the 3 characters that has this collar, like I was talking about with Jiminy Cricket. And she has 2 different expressions. One with the big fat smile, and the other screaming, "Off with their heads!" Terrible impression, but yeah, there it is. Great choice. The CMF has quite a few villains in it, and she is a pretty well marketed one, a decently popular one for marketing, so she's another good pick. The next minifigure is Princess Aurora. She comes with this owl piece that's specifically printed to look like the animation style in the movie. She too comes with a crown, just like Tiana, and a duplicate. Speaking of princesses, the CMF also has the most out of the 3 with 4, like how the villains have. I'll get to the villains later, but I'll just take this off for now. She uses the same piece for a skirt. She's got 2 different expressions, one smiling and one sleeping, because she's the Sleeping Beauty in the 1959 animated movie. I'll admit, out of the princesses, she's not my not my favorite, not my best pick. In fact, out of the marketed princesses, she's probably my least favorite, but she does have a good design of like the rotating dresses. Obviously they were never going to do that in Lego, but I'm glad we got that. We got her to complete the princess collection. They've made pretty much everyone now that we have Belle in the recent ideas set. And also she has arm printing, back printing. Yeah, very nice. Also, she does appear in another set, I think. Not quite as bad as Yana, because I didn't even know the set was a thing until recently. In fact, I didn't really hear anybody talking about it. Still, though, I think I wish she wasn't in that. Maybe Prince Philip was in that set, or even like Aurora in blue, but who cares? Next up, we have Mulan. So she also comes with Crookie. She is one of 4 characters. Yeah, actually no, 6, because Tiana had the frog and Pinocchio had Cleo in the fishbowl. One of like a good third of the series with an animal sidekick or secondary character. She has Crookie. A bit of an odd choice. Most people would prefer Mushu, but I get that some people don't like Mushu, so I'm not like I like Mushu, but I like him fine. I'm just not as butthurt as some other people. She is one of the few princesses in the CMF with actual legs and not a skirt, which is nice. She comes with 2 swords. She has 2 different expressions. The hairpiece they use for Lilo is like a more rubbery plastic. It's not like soft, but it's not as hard as some others. In fact, I think this is what the mini doll version of her uses. I could be wrong, but it does look like it. And here's the first of 2 Pixar characters that made it into the CMF. Ernesto de la Cruz. I feel like most people's pick for the best detailed minifigure would probably be him or Tiana, and I can definitely see why. He has a lovely exclusive guitar piece printed for him, and I love the printing of the skeleton stuff, and all the whites and silvers contrast greatly in this big hat piece. And he has 2 different expressions, like an evil smile. Spoilers for Coco, but he's the surprise villain in the movie. Excluding him, there are 5 Disney villains in the CMF. With him, there's 6. And this is the CMF with the majority of the Disney villains. In fact, if you're just collecting CMFs, half of them will just come in this one alone. Same with the princesses as well, I should also mention that. Out of the villains, not my favorite, but he was a good villain in the film, I get it. And here's the main character of that movie, Miguel. He has a generic guitar piece, but it's cool to have those as I don't have one in my LEGO collection. He comes with the dog Dante with exclusive face printing. He has medium-sized legs with no printing, but it's cool to have that for customs, so it's more useful. He has 2 different faces. If I can show you. He has like the smiling face and the other one where he's like showing one of his dimples, which is nice. Let me just put the hairpiece back on. And he also comes with a secondary head, which is pretty cool. It shows him with like the skeleton face makeup and the hood he wears and certain things. And you can like mix and match them all you'd like. In fact, I'll show you all the combinations. Here's him with the hood and face paint. And here he is without the hood on, with hair. I don't know if he ever had this in the movie, but there you go. Here's what he looks like with the hood up, showing his dimple. And here he is with the smiling open mouth expression. And here he is with the hair back on. And here's what I initially had him as before. Next up, we have Pocahontas, the final princess in the CMF. She comes with a pile of 3 different colored leaves and 2 compass pieces. And she has a very cool hairpiece. Decent printing. Not the most interesting figure print-wise. I think out of the figures, this is one of the weaker choices, because out of the movies in a CMF, this is by far my least favorite. In fact, Pocahontas is the only movie that they use in a CMF that I outright dislike. Like, it's like the rest of them I think are at the absolute least decent. Like, they're at least a 6 out of 10 compared to this like at best 4 out of 10 movie. Again, that's if I'm being generous. But and she's one of the weaker princesses, I feel. Like the only one weaker than her is, in my opinion, Aurora, maybe Merida, if we count her, but she's like one of the weaker ones to me. But she still translates very well and is really the only real choice to put in a CMF from the film, because seeing anyone else in there would be baffling, but she's still a decent pick. Better than some of the choices in Series 2 or even Series 1, but definitely one of the weaker ones. Next up is Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. She is another one of the characters that includes a companion with her. One of the many 99 puppies, like, because 100 and 101 are the parents. That's why I say 99. But anyway, this could be patched from the direct-to-video sequel, but it's unspecified. She comes with handbags instead of a cigarette, because Lego would never do that. I really love the color they chose for Cruella's fur coat. It really stands out. Like, using a sand color they could have done, but may have looked a bit more boring, so this looks really exciting, and I love the fur details. I love the hairpiece. You can use it for, like, a gender-bent Two-Face. That's really nice. And I love the expression on this face. This one, not so much. Like, I don't know if she found, like, that in the movie. That looks like, something Glenn Close Cruella de Vil would make. Like, the 90s live-action version of her. That's, like, the face, like, one of the faces she would make. But still, this face looks great. She also uses this piece to help buff up the detailing. There's one other character that uses this coming up shortly, but I think it looks pretty good on Cruella. I know a lot of people don't like that piece, and I get why, but I think it looks really good to me. And she also has back printing that looks really good, and whenever I see this face, I just wanted to say, "Oh, shop." I don't know why, that just always pops into my mind. Next up is Robin Hood. He comes with a generic bow and arrow, but it fits the character to a T. He has very detailed leg printing, both dual molded and just printing on the feet and legs to give the specific dimensions required. He has a newly molded head and hat. The feather is a separate piece that you can just take off. The CMF does come with extras in case anyone is curious. And yeah, pretty good choice. Not the most popular one, but I think it was worthwhile for being unique. And a pretty underrated Disney movie as well. Partnered alongside Robin Hood is the villain of the movie, Prince John, a very underrated Disney villain. He's not the most popular, but he's one of the funniest in my mind. He comes with 2 coin accessories and a bag full of his gold where he taxes people. He has really good shoe printing and the king's outfit. In the movie, it's like in like the first half of the film, it's like red, and the second half it's like blue. He's the other character like Cruella de Vil that has this piece. He also has it printed on. I get why, because he's a very small character in the movie. He's not like a midget or anything, but like the clothes definitely oversize him because he is on the scrawnier side, just like Cruella is. So it does make sense. And again, he has a newly molded piece that looks really good. It's a bit hard to tell which expression he has, but he still looks great. I've heard a few people like Ash and Flash really baffled by this choice, and I get why. He's out of the villains, besides Nabi and Nesso de la Cruz, the least popular in marketing. And, like, Robin Hood isn't one of the more popular films, but maybe it's because I have a Disney villain bias, but I thought he was a good choice because I'm biased with villains. I just like that we get to see more villains. There's probably better choices like Oogie Boogie or like the stepmother from Cinderella or Gothel from Tangled or Frollo, one of my favorites. But regardless, I think Prince John is a good underrated pick. Stitch is up next. He is in his Experiment 626 outfit. He comes with 2 yellow ray guns, blasters for accessories. He also has great back printing. I love that he has the forearms accurate to the film. This piece was used in like a 2018 solo set from Star Wars, and I'm glad it was brought back for Stitch. I'll compare him to the Series 1 Stitch. I like that they made the head slightly different with, like, different eyes. I do wish they made it more different, though, with, like, an open mouth, but it's still good and goes a long way. Here you can see the heads swapped out, in case you wanted to know what they looked like. And here they are back to normal. He is the only character here besides Mickey who has appeared in another CMF and given a makeover. I think Stitch was definitely a good choice. Since the CMF came out and as of making this video at the start of 2025, the only characters that have gotten a revamp from this CMF are the Evil Queen and... Actually, just out of all the CMFs, it's just the Evil Queen and Jafar. Like, I'm trying to think if anyone else got another one. Jack and Sally did. Peter Pan did, but I feel like Sally and Peter Pan were big downgrades. Maleficent as well, I think it was a downgrade, personally. Jack Skellington, I'd say, is on the same level, but... Maleficent's pretty close as well, but... Anyway, here's Stitch. Not my favorite, but still a decent minifigure. The penultimate minifigure in this CMF is Baymax from Big Hero 6. After Pocahontas, this is probably the next weakest. This one's just okay for me, but I still like it fine. I loved it as a kid, not as much as an adult, but... He comes with a charging station with printed pieces, and you can just stand Baymax on there. And these tiles here, I just put on there, but you're supposed to swap them out, like when he's not charging. Baymax is also a pretty odd pick, because he should be a big fig, but I think they really did a good job thinking outside of the box, like printing him to have a belly, making him look bigger, still using the normal legs instead of smaller legs, which he should be like Hagrid in the new sets, but glad they didn't. And the arms are like really big and unnormal. This could be like him inflated, which is nice, like just rising up. That's really cool. The head is like perfect, and the details are really nice. Not one of the best, but still a decent minifigure, and I applaud LEGO for taking the risk to choose him. Ironically enough, the final character in the CMF is from the first ever Disney movie, predating everyone except for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and also the first ever villain, and the first character that got a line in the film as well. I find it quite ironic, but regardless, here she is, greatly designed. She also comes with the magic mirror piece, very well coloured with the green and purple. I wish it was bigger, but I'm glad we have it, and I'll take what I can get. At first, I was very skeptical with the cape, but if you actually look at the movie, it actually is like that. And on the back, it is black, so that's nice. And she's the other character, like Jiminy Cricket and Queen of Hearts, that has this white piece, like the collar. So yeah, that's the third one. She comes with a unique crown piece. Getting her comes with 2, by the way. The other one you might use for a custom or something. And she has a blank head, which gives her a more pale look, but she did kind of have that in the movie. She wasn't, like, white, but... And by white, I mean, like, white. But yeah, it does look like the film. And I like the black contrasting here to make... So that way the purple doesn't look too bright, because... Like, she shouldn't look quite as dark as Maleficent, but I also like it because it looks more colorful than a hag disguise, which is almost entirely black. So that is really good. I also forgot to mention that for Pocahontas, she also has two different faces. One just smiling with her mouth closed, and the other with her mouth open. Just wanted to clarify that. Normally, this would be the part where I would say how many minifigures each character has, but in this CMF, there's like 36 in each box as opposed to the usual 60. So everyone appears equally with 2 appearances in each box. Not that it's necessarily going to stop you from having a hard time getting characters or getting that many duplicates, because I know Just Too Good struggled to get Tiana, but for me this was notably easier. Like, I got a few duplicates of Baymax, maybe like one of Pinocchio, but these I only got once. And one last thing to note is that each character comes with their own special base. They come with this stand piece here, which says Disney 100, celebrating their 100th anniversary in a CMF, making this more unique. The only other CMF to do this was the Lego Batman Movie Series 2, which is nice. The other CMFs would most commonly just use these generic tiles, but without the printing. So there you have it. That concludes this review. Out of the CMS for Disney, I have to say this one is hands down the best one. It has a lot of pieces, a lot of animal or sidekick characters, which is nice to get more characters, which we never really got in the previous CMS. And the colors are very unique and varied. Like, when I think back to Series 2, I think of blues and reds. So that's really cool. There's a lot of, like, reds, yellows, greens, whites, blacks, reds and blues and oranges and whatever other colors are used, and different distinct variations and pink and all that, which is really good. It also has the most villains and princesses. I'm biased towards Disney villains, so that's always a plus for me, and a lot of princesses, meaning this is going to get a lot of sales. And we get a variety from different Disney eras. Like, we have the early days of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, we have the 30s with Queen Grimhilda, we have the 40s with Pinocchio, Jiminy Cricket, and Mickey. We have the 50s with the Queen of Hearts and Aurora. For the 60s, we have Cruella de Vil. For the 1970s, we have Robin Hood and Prince John, which, let's face it, they were the only characters, or the only movie, at least, that could have appeared, because Winnie the Pooh aside, none of them would have translated into a minifigure. In fact, Winnie the Pooh already got a set, so obviously they couldn't just do that again. Like, I know Ash and Flash questioned their inclusion, but my guess would be because they needed someone to represent the 70s and 80s, because, like, nobody else could contend. And as I said, there's nothing for the 80s, but there wasn't really anything they could do anyway. For the 90s, we have Pocahontas and Mulan. For the 2000s, we have Stitch, Tiana, and Dr. Facilier, or the Shadow Man. For the 2010s, we have Baymax and the Coco Duo. So I like that we're getting a big variety. Like, The first CMF had like the Silver Age, like 50s characters, and like the 80s and 90s with the Renaissance, and like the 2000s with Pixar and Lilo and Stitch. And then Series 2 had like the 20s with Mickey and Minnie, but it was mostly like the 90s with Disney Afternoon, the Renaissance, and then the 2010s with The Incredibles 2 and Frozen. So I like this one has the most variety, the most amount of certain characters, and the most colorful and the best accessories. So if I had to rank the CMFs, it would be Series 2 in last place, then Series 1, and then this one at the top. So I know a lot of people are going to be asking, what am I going to do next for CMFs? I'm thinking of either doing Looney Tunes or Simpsons next, or I'm going to make a custom Series 4 using characters from the sets, or even drafting my own ideas. As for the future of Lego Disney, it will be, as I said, a custom Series 4, or even if there's a Series 4 doing that. But yeah, otherwise, this is it. This is the trilogy. Hope you all enjoyed watching these videos, and I'll see you all later.